If you're a restaurant, you might have some light at the end of the tunnel. If you're a bar, well, you just keep sitting on the sidelines bleeding money. Wow. It is Brewmance on the radio. He's Rob Hunter. I'm Mike Russell. It is weird times for the industry here in the great state of Arizona, the best craft beer state in the nation. We're still going to do what we do. We're still going to bring you Arizona's only craft beer radio station show, whatever, on our station and the other stations. We're the only one. Doesn't matter. So we're going to start with a beer of the week each and every week. I'm very excited about mine this week. I'm going to start off Mother Road Brewing Company's Firing Order American IPA. The can art is absolutely fantastic. I hope it is equally fantastic inside. Mother Road hasn't let me down yet, so I'm ready for it. What you got, Big Cat?
I'm going with good can art, too. This is Papago, owned by Huss Brewing. Their Desert Sage Orange IPA. It has orange zest in it, and that's straight up Arizona can. Since we're talking Arizona, we got to talk about this beer as well. So I'm looking forward to trying this one. And, man, Mike, I think that's the biggest problem. There's so many questions that haven't been answered yet. So the governor holds a press conference. What day was it? Wednesday when he held that press conference? Yeah. I don't even remember because we've just been in a fog since then.
Oh, I remember. I was loaded for bear fight. I went through the roof of the radio station when he announced that he was going to keep things on hold. Mm-hmm. I remember. It was Wednesday. I'm sorry, but I didn't mean to cut you off. But yeah, it was Wednesday for sure.
No, and that's why they've been a blur because for me, I'm like, okay, so we have no clarity. Dates do not matter. Days do not matter because you got a somewhat partial reopening of retail that is going to happen on May 4th, which is Monday, a couple of days away. But we don't even know exactly what that means. And digging into it, it found out you can, if you own a store, open for appointments, and you have to have social distancing. So I'd have to call the store, a retailer, and say, I would like to come buy a pair of pants. They're like, oh, okay. Does noon on Monday work for you? I'm like, what? What is this, concierge? Yeah. Meanwhile, Costco, Safeway, Fry's, all the grocery stores can still be open. Lowe's, Home Depot, they're still open, no big deal. So none of this actually makes sense when you dig into the details. And then our restaurant friends, where we had been doing a trivia night up until March 17th at Enchiladas. So the trivia night was canceled that night, obviously, because they shut down the restaurant, gave them 6 hours notice. Mayor of Phoenix did that one. 2 days later, Ducey follows up. And now he says maybe some restaurants in the best case scenario can open on May 12th. That's 8 weeks of closure, mind you, to dine-in service. And, Mike, they can only open for 25% capacity if they open on May 12th.
No, actually, no. He says nobody wants to open at 25% capacity. In all of his infinite small business wisdom, he said no restaurant wants to open up at 25% capacity. Yes, because let's say I have 100 customers a day. 25 customers is better than 0 customers. I promise you. And you know something? No, I'm not going to be operating a full staff. Think like a grown-up. I'm going to be operating everything. I'm going to be the chief cook and bottle washer. I'm going to be doing everything I can on my own to save myself some money, get this restaurant moving back into the black and operating at, I don't know, some sort of revenue stream. Right. It's blinding to me that the arrogance that he came through with. No, I talked to Sam Fox. And he's talking to Sam Fox. Sam Fox, good dude.
Yeah.
Sam Fox, great Arizona success story. Mm-hmm. Sam Fox sold his restaurants. Sam Fox it would be, if Sam Fox were here on the show with us, I would just quickly remind him that, remember when you had your first shop? Remember that first restaurant you opened? Remember how nervous you were? Remember like you just sweating it out and you weren't making any money for like the first couple months? Could you imagine if this happened then? Would you say 25% isn't worth opening at that point? No, you'd be begging for 10%. So it's not representative. The governor and the state's governing bodies are not representing the craft beer industry, the tap house industry, the restaurant industry by any stretch of the imagination. It's really sad for our people. My heart hurts for everyone that's just pushing and deciding, can we wait that long?
I'm wearing a Helton Brewing shirt right now. So I think about Brian Helton. I think about Jeff and Leah Huss as I'm drinking one of their beers. You're drinking a Mother Road beer up in Flagstaff. And I don't actually know where they qualify because Helton technically serves food. So does the Huss Brewing's companies. So are they restaurants or are they bars? Because bars and pubs aren't going to be part of this first wave, best case scenario opening on May 12th? We don't have an answer to that yet from the governor. And here's the other thing. As of this weekend, the Deuce said that we're going to have a testing blitz. Be careful of what's going to happen here, because you test more people, you're going to have more cases. And more cases, which we started to see, coincidentally, on Thursday, there was an uptick of 400-something cases. Shocker. This just gives the governor more ammunition to keep the state closed even further. We already have 300,000 people in this state who've applied for unemployment benefits in about 5 or 6 weeks. 300,000 people. There's probably 4 million people that work in the state total. If that number, I don't even know what the actual number is. That's, a little bit more than half of our total population. You have a bunch of retirees that live here, a bunch of young people growing up here. So it might not even be that high. So you have 300,000 of them already shut off. And there's just it just doesn't make any sense, because the bigger that number grows, the more reverberations you have economically. So it might impact you and me, Mike. It might impact someone that we work with. It hasn't yet, but in a month it might, because there's so many people taken out of the labor force that the governor's just not necessarily caring about. And going back to your point about Sam Fox, honestly, it doesn't really matter what Sam Fox thinks. If he doesn't want to open, that's his prerogative. But it should be up to each individual owner to decide their own fate. So if I owned Brewmance Tap Room and I wanted to open, shouldn't it be on us to open, and we'll face the consequences? We'll see if there's an appetite for the public to come in and have some beers with us.
Right. Doug Ducey's going with a one-size-fits-all approach, and it doesn't. It really doesn't. There's no way that it does. I guess when you were the CEO of a company that is franchised, one size does fit all, because they do everything identical. They do everything the same way. So, yes, one size does fit all in the world of franchises and franchisees. It does not work in the real world outside of that. And I mean, you step one toe outside that line, you're in a different ball game than what Doug Ducey is used to. And he needs to really, he kept saying, I'm a small business owner. I know my heart. I really, I understand that. Yet at the same time, he's telling people, now listen to those restaurants. If you've opened this weekend, God bless you for doing it. Tap houses, breweries, God bless you for doing it. But I'm telling you, if you didn't read the fine print or listen to the entire press conference on Wednesday, you are opening yourself up to some serious liability. I never thought I'd hear this in America. I definitely never thought I'd hear this in the great state of Arizona. I thought California, New York, they'd pull this stuff off. It's now under threat of $2,500 in fines, up to 6 months in jail, and you'll lose your liquor license if you open up before a governor tells you you can open up or not. Yeah, I don't know where to go. I feel helpless at this point for all of our people in this industry.
Well, it's like we're computers and this does not compute, because none of this actually makes sense. And look, we're not even trying to downplay what's going on here. We're not trying to downplay that people are getting sick and people are dying. But Ducey even used a number in the hospitals. Like, a lot of these decisions were made not to overwhelm the healthcare system, of which they also cut off revenue streams for hospitals because of this, so much so that only 7% of hospital beds are actually taken up right now. 7%. That's not 7-0. That is 0.7%. So again, you're looking at this and, okay, if we weren't trying to overwhelm the system, we didn't. So why can't we then somewhat resume and go back to normalcy and at least let some people make their own decisions to go out and try to patronize these businesses, because we understand the economic stakes here. And I don't know why the governor doesn't seem to care about it at all.
Right. Well, he might care. He doesn't know how to act like he does, because when you talk about retailers and mom and pop shops, but the only example you use is your conversation you had with your Fortune 100 CEO buddy from a big box store that we would all recognize. I mean, how arrogant is that? And they said, he gave me these stats, said 30% don't want to leave their house. They're never going to leave their house until there's a vaccine. 30% are ready to go, and 40% need more information. BS. That's a bunch of nonsense. I'm getting fired up again. I did my pulse a few times on Wednesday before our show, Russell and Hunter, right here on 550 KFY. But I am trying to stay calm, and I really can't understand that we're basing our stats on a CEO from a different state telling us what's going on in our state. And the man leading our state believes that, buys into it, and says, okay, I'm going to use that as my basis to keep this place shut down. It's
well,
disturbing.
In a moment, we're going to tell you one of the consequences of these decisions, and it has to do with beer right here in the Valley. This is the Brewmance on the radio. His name is Mike Russell. My name is Rob Hunter. Find us on brewmance.beer. You can also check us out on Instagram at _Brewmance. Back with you in a second on 550 KFYI. Still not clear when bars, breweries, and restaurants are still going to be open. Best case scenario, May 12th for restaurants. But we're seeing some real consequences outside of unemployment here in the state of Arizona. This is the Brewmance on the radio. My name is Rob Hunter. My main man, Mike Russell. We are broadcasting from our homes. He on the west side, me, North Phoenix. But we still get together because life is still best celebrated, even in the times of COVID-19, because we still have beer to crack open and hang out with y'all. So thanks for hanging out with us. Mike Russell, what beer do you have this week for your beer of the week?
Mother Roads firing order straight out of their tap house release. This thing is an American IPA. I'm having fun with it so far. We'll review it at the end of the show, and you sticking local too, buddy.
Yeah, I got a Papago Desert Sage Orange IPA. We think it's new. It's the first time I've seen it. It's got really cool can art. Papago owned by the Huss family, so they still push it out under the Papago label, but they make it. So we'll give you a review a little bit later.
It's got a very Papago, it's got a very vibey art. I like that.
So
it's
you can check out on Facebook as this show is on, and you can see
barring technical difficulties.
Yeah, exactly. Barring technical difficulties. If not, it'll be on YouTube later. So we'll work it out. Yeah. It's all good, baby. It's just times
are crazy. About it.
No, exactly, because we vibing, trying to figure this out, trying to know that look, people say we're all in this together. Truly, Mike and I believe that, especially for our small business owners that we love here in the Valley. Many of them make beer that we love. And I can't even begin to describe how we will feel if one of our favorite places has to close because the government told them that they had to remain closed for 2 or 3 months. Because, Mike, here's the deal. I did the math the other day. I just looked it up. I just wanted to confirm it. So after Ducey extended the closures this week, I went back and looked, and I was like, oh, yeah, it was St. Patrick's Day that Mayor Kate Gallego here in the city of Phoenix, city I live in, closed down restaurants. Exactly. At best case scenario, they can open partially May 12th. Best case scenario. Oh, but they're open for dine-in. Shut up. Don't give me that nonsense. We all know that there's not enough business in dine-out service to sustain a business, at least the way the restaurants are currently set up. That being said, if they open on May 12th, that is 8 weeks of closure. 8 weeks. Can you imagine if you said to your business, the one you work at, whatever it is, whether you own it or whether you're just an employee, they said, you know what? We're going to close you down. You can operate at 25% capacity for 8 weeks. What kind of economic hardship do you think that brings upon any business? And it was mandated. Yeah.
Not just the business. How about the vendors? How about the suppliers? How about the people that clean the place? How about the people who do central air maintenance in the strip mall? How about it just keeps going and going and going? The people that pay rent, the power companies, by the way, the utility companies that are not selling a lot of power right now. Oh, get ready for your price increase because they're mandated by the Arizona State Constitution to operate at a certain profit margin. Their profits are going through the floor, so they're going to pass it right to you. So just you're welcome. Thank you, Doug Ducey. The 8-week thing, Rob, is hard for me to get my head around because it isn't because our friends are stupid. It is, and I would much rather prefer that to be like, yeah, man, that Brian guy, man, he didn't even know how to make good beer, but he opened up a brewery. Oh my gosh. But we know he's amazing at what he does. He's fantastic at what he does. He's one of the best ever at what he does. And it's because of the government that he can't be operating at full force, that his business isn't open fully. That it's because of the government, not because it's, oh, we got a knucklehead friend that he runs a small business. He's playing the business thing. No, these are all super intelligent, full of badassery people that run great businesses, and they're shut down because of the government. And I know there's a lot of stats flying around and dates. I still just can't get my head around the fact that our government is just so cavalier about, it's a couple more weeks. Just, deal with it.
Very dismissive. And this is the consequence. So we're told that this is about safety. We're told that this is about protecting the public. This is, which I don't necessarily buy anyways, because when you look at the statistics, you find out we should protect certain people, vulnerable age groups, and a lot of them live in nursing homes, and we're not actually protecting those that live in nursing homes. It's beyond me, and don't get me on that rant, because then I turned into Mike Russell as he was fired up on Wednesday, if you caught Russell and Hunter. But here's an actual consequence. Yeah, exactly. He was literally like, oh, his face turned green. It was crazy. It was good to see.
Yes.
You need to let it out, but it's obviously still there. And wait till I tell you this number, real world consequence of this. There's distributors that bring beer to restaurants, bars, Total Wines, supermarkets, etc. So it's an old archaic rule that goes back to the Prohibition days. It just never changed. But it was designed to sort of say, okay, you need to create a relationship with a distributor. Distributor then going to create relationships with stores, bars, etc. So if you're brewing enough beer, you can do it consistently. A distributor will come to you and say, I want to put your beer in stores. And you come up with an agreement, so on and so forth. There's a couple big ones here in the state of Arizona. There's Hensley Brewing and Hensley Distributing, and there's Crescent Crown Distributing. Now, Crescent Crown handles a lot of beer, some local craft beer as well. They just dumped at least 20,000 kegs of beer. Why are they dumping 20,000 kegs? Because they can't bring it anywhere, because all the places they were going to bring it are closed. And they pointed out, Crescent Crown did, that this all happened in the middle of the busy season. So spring training, we shut down half of spring training. A lot of that beer was going to go towards spring training facilities. But since there's no spring training, there's no demand, there's no place people can actually go buy kegs of beer, pints at a time, they've had to dump it. This is like $1 million+ worth of beer. That is an actual economic consequence of these decisions. 20,000 kegs plus from one distributor, let alone every brewery that makes beer. They probably had to dump beer too.
I know Four Peaks is doing their beer sale again, their keg sale. They're having round 2 of that going on, and I think that is something worthwhile, something worth looking at. Especially for me and Rob, we might want to meet up at Four Peaks and grab ourselves a keg and a kegerator on the way home. So the hard part about that is the 20,000 kegs, the work and time that went into that. And knowing that those 20,000 kegs are not going to be filled again for quite a while, because the distributor is a real life, real world consequence to this kind of nonsense. So we think of 20,000 kegs of beer. Oh no, it's so crazy. Oh wow. Oh man, we love beer. That's so terrible. No, we're talking about employees. We're talking about pensions. We're talking about retirements. We're talking about college funds. We're talking about life. This beer is great. Beer is a wonderful, wonderful accent and a wonderful flavor to life. It is a wonderful seasoning to our lives, and it brings us together, and it's a fantastic thing. But what goes into it supplies life to other people and other families, and that is all being disrupted right now. And it's put me in a serious mood. Yeah. I don't do it. And by the way, we're talking about the stats and all this stuff for Arizona. And the deaths still haven't outpaced influenza.
Yeah.
The regular flu.
Not at all.
We should be at 372 right now if we go average. Last year we lost 1,120 people to flu last year. So that put us at 372 right now, heading over to another 90 next month. So it's not going to. We are destroying our entire economy and people's livelihoods because of something not as bad as the flu.
And even if it is, again, take precautions. Wash your hands. If you're not ready to go out, don't go out. We're not going to force you to do it. But what we're advocating is that there might be 30% of us, at least I know several of us that we talk to here at 550 KFY that are ready to go out, ready to open. In fact, there's a Fountain Hills Cafe that has been cited because they kept doing dine-out service. People came in and they actually sat down with their dine-out food and ate it in the restaurant. They did this a couple of times. So the Maricopa County Sheriff's Office has cited them. Like, is this Russia? Is this Cuba?
No, this doesn't make any sense. Getting cited for just doing business, getting fined for doing business, having the governor of a state threaten you with jail time if you open your business. If you just open your doors and say, come in and try on some pants, you're done. If you come and say, just go, I don't know, just sit down and wait for your lunch that you ordered online. Would you like a beer while you wait? That person's now dining in. Am I going to get arrested? Is Laura at Saddle Mountain going to get arrested? Is Brian at Helton going to get arrested? Chip Malala? I don't understand this. I just, once again, I'm sorry, guys. I get loss of words. Speechless, just speechless.
Well, that's all you got. Now, thankfully, some brewers are starting to innovate to try to get people to come to theirs. Now, unfortunately, this could be the new normal, but that's what we want to talk to you about next. Is this a good thing, a bad thing, or is it a little bit of both? We are the Brewmance. We are also Russell and Hunter. His name is Mike Russell. My name is Rob Hunter. We have Beers of the Week. We want to review for you as well, give you some good news, something uplifting from the Brewmance as we continue right here on 550 KFYI.
Yes, we are having a hard time getting our heads around what's going on in our great state of Arizona, but there could be some silver linings. We try to find those silver linings right here on Brewmance on the Radio. He's Rob Hunter. I'm Mike Russell each and every week. Oh, by the way, do we still believe it? I know there's crazy stuff happening and people are just down in the dumps, and we're down in the dumps and trying to do everything we can to stay positive. We still believe that life is still best celebrated.
Yes.
With good friends and good drinks and great conversation like we have right here on Brewmance on the Radio on 550 KFYI. This week, I am rolling from my COVID-19 bunker in the West Valley. Mother Road Brewing Company's Firing Order American IPA. American Pale Ale.
American PA. It's all good. You're stepping on it.
American India Pale Ale. It has to be an American Pale Ale, right?
Right. Yeah, exactly.
Thank you.
It could be a West Coast India Pale Ale or an East Coast hazy India Pale Ale, or whatever. Who cares? I've got an India Pale Ale with some orange zest in it from Papago Desert Sage Orange IPA. It is from Huss Brewing. They own that label. See, I'm going to hold it up to the camera if you want to check that out. There it is. I can't find the camera. There it is.
There it is.
So
here's the deal, though. I want to find some. Well, I don't know if it's great news. I mean, I'd rather see everybody just rolling it at capacity with all their, playing the hits. I would, absolutely love to see that. But if there's a silver lining in this, you see, like the reason why I'm drinking this Mother Road brew is this was at their tap room only. This is available. This is not distributed. This is not around town. This was just made for this time for their people at their tap room for us. So right now, brewers get to play, and if they're still brewing, if they're lucky enough to have the funds to still brew, and people are still jumping in there and supporting local and supporting their business, they have this opportunity to basically play for us, play a show for their biggest fans, not the ones that they're trying to pull off the street. Like, hey, come try craft beer. This is us. You're in with your crew right now. The people that are supporting you right now, we're craft beer lovers. We're in the craft beer culture, and they get to play it up for us. And I think it's just that's kind of cool.
Well, and that's going to be I would imagine as a business model that this is going to make a lot of sense because you have to entice me to get there. So, for example, many people right now are not traveling very far from home. So, for example, Mike's working at his house. He lives on the west side. He lives close to Saddle Mountain and Transplants, and a couple of the others out there. I live close to North Mountain, Simple Machine, and Front Porch Brew. So I'm not traveling as far. I just don't have a need to go out that far. So it's keeping me very insular. But let's say, maybe it is, for example, Wilderness. Wilderness is going to have a special beer that they're going to put on tap that is a beer that I know I'm going to love. So I'm like, ooh, maybe I'll just drive to downtown Phoenix and go get myself a growler full or a 4-pack because it's a special beer and special release. Or maybe like Wren House. Wren House is doing some delivery. At least they were last time I checked. $5 delivery fee, $25 minimum order. But you're like, hey, they make special beers all the time. They make phenomenal beers. $5 delivery charge. That's worth it. I don't even have to go get it. But that's what is so interesting is the ones that innovate to try to get people to travel outside the normal circle will probably come out ahead.
Or even better, you mentioned we talked about Transplant, and we also talked about Simple Machine. They released a collaboration yesterday. That's right. They released a collaboration. So I don't have to go to town, Rob,
30 miles
to try Simple Machine beer. And you don't have to don't have to come to my side of town to try transplant. You can get that. You can get them both because they collaborated at both of the tap rooms. I think that is one of the next steps of innovation as well. It's just well, play good in the sandbox. I'm sure they social distance while they're brewing it. They're like us. I don't even know. I'm not going to say the places that I've gone, but I've yet to see somebody wearing a mask. God bless them, because they understand. They're business owners. They understand numbers. They understand risk. They understand all of this. This is the language they speak. So when Dr. Fauci and who's Ducey's Dr. Burks, what's her name? Dr. Christ. Yeah. When they're speaking numbers, small business owners are like, "Ooh, really? Okay, you're speaking my language." And the scare tactics you're giving me with all these numbers don't scare me, because I know numbers, I know risk, and I know stats. And you're singing my song. I'm in. I'm ready to get back out and do my thing.
Yeah, and that's kind of what we all need, right? We all need encouraging signs, because the government's not giving anyone any encouraging signs, whether it's the mayor of Phoenix, whether it's the governor in Arizona, which is hugely disappointing. From the mayor of Phoenix, you expect it. She's if you want to get political, she leans a certain way. We thought Ducey leaned a certain opposite way, but he's not in this case. So that was a surprise. So here's the bottom line. The lesson from the Brewmance is the government rarely ever leads. So it's going to take innovators in industries to lead the way. So if that takes doing a collaboration beer from, all right, we're way on the west side. We're still open for business. How about you guys up in North Phoenix? Why don't we collaborate? Because then we can sort of divide and conquer. And, we can sell the Simple Machine Brewing collaboration with Transplant in Litchfield Park, and vice versa. Up in North Phoenix, you get a little flavor of Litchfield Park. It's going to take teamwork like that and leadership like that in order to be able to do it. And we talked to Brian Helton a while back too, from Helton Brewing, and he says, look, this is at the very beginning. He's like, I'm not really sure what I wanted to do. Now they're open for pickups and online orders and things of that nature, because they're trying to minimize interactions with the staff, because all he wanted to do as a business owner was protect his staff. These business owners, the brewer owners that we know and we've come to get to know over the last few years in doing the Brewmance are insanely thoughtful people and would never want to jeopardize anybody. But they're the leaders of the craft beer community. And we're looking to them to continue to lead in these times of crisis, because we're not finding it where we should find it from our elected leaders who only care about retaining office.
Sure. There's a very famous politician that once said, lead from behind. I wouldn't even say it like, I will lead from behind. So that's how he lead from behind was a very popular saying. Now we're seeing lead and hide is what we're seeing. So they come out and demand a bunch of things, shut everyone down, give everyone terrible news, and then go away and then disappear and maybe tweet some things about how awesome they are in the interim, and then come back out and give us some bad news. So there is no leadership politically, and that's fine with me, because Governor Ducey was talking about how great our economy was in December and how we were the best economy in the entire nation. He didn't do that. He might have facilitated some of it. He might have oversaw most of it. We did it. The small business owners did it. The craft beer industry did it. Think about how much the craft beer industry, billions of dollars here in the state, how many people they employ, tax revenue, all of that. It's industries like this that did it. Yep. So stop taking a victory lap. This is because of us. And you shut the us of it all down. You trashed the us part of this thing and made it political. And now we're all struggling, and we're hoping that everything stays up. It's a hope game, because we're powerless right now.
Not only that, it's a fool's errand at this point. And if we're going to give people credit for making these decisions, we should also hold them accountable for these decisions, because literally these decisions have consequences. They have business consequences, billions and billions and billions of dollars of consequences for people now sitting on the couch because their job's gone, or furloughed because no one knows when they're going to reopen. And I understand to a degree that these decisions are challenging, but they're so one-sided and anti-freedom of choice. That's what bothers me the most, is that you're not giving people the choice. You're not giving business owners a choice. You're not giving Mike Russell and Rob Hunter a choice. You're not giving you a choice. That choice is being made for you as if we're all 2 years old and we don't know any better. As a 2-year-old, you don't know any better. As a 42-year-old, I know what my risk tolerance level is. I know what the risk of me getting the coronavirus is. If I get sick, I'm going to get sick. Chances of me dying from it at 42, healthy guy, very slim. Chances of me getting it are very slim. There's 7,500 or so cases in the state of Arizona with 7 million people. And I keep talking about the contagion number, Mike. And what's half that? That's how many people are probably contagious right now. Mm-hmm. What are the chances of me being in the same place with them at the same time?
Not darn near zero now because you're told you have to stay home. But you mentioned the 2-year-olds. What's the 2-year-old's favorite word? No. And that's what we need to start doing. Start acting like a bunch of 2-year-olds and say, you know what? I reject your reality and I replace it with my own. Because my reality is my business. My economy is my business. You can do victory laps about whatever Arizona economy you want to. My economy is what matters. So what you need to say is no. I'm going to go out and do everything I can to keep my business going. And it's cool to see, as we're talking about here, is the innovations coming out of a lot of these breweries that are leading the way. I mean, Huss Brewing. You're drinking a Huss brew. Well, Papago, but you're drinking a Huss brew. They turned themselves into a little small town market. They had eggs, they had toilet paper, they had everything going on.
Phenomenal. We'll review their beers in a moment. It's the Brewmance on the Radio, 550 KFYI. Let's give away $1 million worth of beer. Okay, we here at the Brewmance are not giving away $1 million worth of beer, but someone is. Welcome to the Brewmance on the Radio. Thank you for being here. We're going to do some beer reviews for you as part of the Brewmance on the Radio. Not only do we have great, fun, interesting conversations where Mike and I sometimes disagree, but we feel like crack open a beer, we're going to solve that problem, see if we can find some common ground, or just disagree and be disagreeable yet agreeable. It's part of the fun here at the Brewmance. Thanks for hanging out with him. He's Mike Russell. I'm Rob Hunter. Mike, what are you drinking this week? Although you're going to say something.
You got me all excited. I got all fired up, like watching the beginning of a Ducey press conference, like something great was going to happen. I thought my man Rob just became rich. Talking about giving $1 million in beer away. Okay, we'll get to that.
I'm working on it. Mm-hmm.
Like, holy cow, buddy. All right. Not the fact that you have $1 million. You have $1 million expendable just to they call that something you money, right? All right, I'm drinking a Mother Road Brewing firing order American IPA. Just so you know, right on the can, it does say firing order, the sequence in which the cylinders fire in an engine. So it's nothing like a firing line or anything like that.
Is Utah still the only state that has a firing squad? I think they are.
And you get to choose. If you go on death row, you're like, I want that. I want firing squad, please.
Give me that. Put me in the blindfold and have like 8 people shoot at me. Only one of them has a live round. Isn't that how they do it? Something like that?
No, I want all of them to have a live round. If I'm going to go, just go. I mean, dude, get it done.
Yeah, let's do it. It is, but let's hope we're never in that position. If we keep defying the governor's orders, you never know. So as we've been talking about all show, and we've been talking about the rest of the end part of the week here, Governor Ducey extending his stay-at-home order until May 15th, saying restaurants may open May 12th, but giving no indications about breweries, bars, some of our favorite places to go here on the Brewmance. So we're still curious. So we're still drinking at home. Papago Desert Sage Orange IPA. This is from Huss Brewing. They own the Papago Brewing label, so I'll review that for you here in just a couple of minutes. So back to this $1 million worth of beer.
Okay.
Coors is giving away $1 million worth of beer during the time of COVID-19. It's a social media contest. Not bad.
Their social media game is huge. They understand the times. They get what's going on socially. They get what's going on pop culture wise as well. They've done a few interesting promotions throughout the last year and a half. And this seems no different to me. This seems right in line with what they've been doing.
Here's what they wrote. Let's face it, right now, America could use a beer. More than one, Coors. Tell us who you think could use a 6-pack and why. We're buying. Now, it does say beer purchase required. Offer varies by state, because we're one of these weird states in Arizona where we actually don't allow beer giveaways or liquor giveaways because we're nerds, apparently. So that's just, if we ever run for lawmaking bodies in this state, that's the first thing we're ever changing at the Brewmance. Like, yes, you can give away beer. Mm-hmm.
There's a lot.
Absolutely. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Including the stay-at-home order,
Yeah.
which will probably still be in effect by the time we run for office and start serving in office. Unbelievable. Now, nonetheless, you remember that you talked about this, Mike, a while ago, and I think we even did it on Russell and Hunter, our afternoon show here on 550 KFY, 4 to 7. There was a 93-year-old woman who went in the window and posted a picture of herself holding up a Coors Light and said, "I need a beer." And a bunch of people brought her beer. And then Coors Light said, "All right, you were drinking a Coors Light. Here's more beer." So they were extending this campaign, which I love. But here's the rub. $1 million worth of beer.
Yeah.
500,000 cans of Coors Light. I'm like, wait a second. That math doesn't quite add up, does it?
Okay, 500,000 cans of Coors Light or Coors beer is worth $1 million. So basically $2 a beer. I usually don't pay that for craft beer, especially the cans. That doesn't make me. That would be a $12 6-pack of 12-ounce cans. No. Oh, hell no. I don't know where they came up with that math. Maybe shipping is included. Maybe they're putting something up. So we're going to maybe double the price of the probably valued at 50 to 70 cents a can. Oh, yeah. You know what's a lot of money, too? Is Michelob Ultra. Believe it or not, I bought some for Sister Brewmance, and that's what she drinks. I know. Whatever. Tried. So I'm giving up. Tomorrow's promising no one. If you want to go out drinking that crap, that's your own deal. But I more than $1 a bottle for this. I was like, wow. Wait a second. You're charging craft beer prices for this. That blew is $22 for an 18-pack. No.
Nope. I'll buy crap. I'll buy good stuff.
Amen.
Yep, exactly. Now, here's the other interesting thing. We apparently like, I'm going to call it affordable beer. You might call it cheap beer. I don't know, whatever you want. Sales are way up. So here you go. Anheuser-Busch's Busch Light sales have increased 44% since mid-March. So we're at home. We're like, fine, I'm going to the grocery store. It's the only place I'm going. I'm just loading up on beer. So here we go. What else? Michelob Ultra, up 14%. Natty Light, up 17%. Modelo, High Life, both up around 7%. So here's the bottom line. Here's how you can spin this.
Body fat index up 14%.
Bingo. Now think about this if you're Ducey. No, think about it if you're Ducey. Think about it. This is all for health, right? We are keeping people at home for health. We're not healthy when we stay home. We are drinking more. We're eating Oreos, Chips Ahoy, Doritos. We are getting fat. What are the healthcare costs going to be down the line because of this stay-at-home order? The further you extend it, the more unhealthy we're going to be. So if we're really about health, wellness, saving people's lives, let us get back to normal. We can't handle being at home 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. We don't have the strength to not eat Oreos. I don't, anyways. I got a family pack.
You know, I was being a smartass, Rob. I didn't mean to jump on your story there. I was just trying to be smartass. But the thing with the staying at home this long, you see, when I'm home for, we get back from our show, it's 8:00. I've got, shower up, hang out with the kids a little bit. Maybe I can have 1-2 beers. Yeah. And that's it. So that's 10 beers in a week. So I'm drinking craft beer. The reason why these beers are seeing such huge increases, these brands, is because people are drinking a lot more than that. People are having 5 beers in a night, 5 beers in a day, because you don't even know what time it is anymore. It's like living in a casino. Right. And you just start drinking. And so that's why those are up. They're inexpensive, they're crushable, and it's almost necessity at that point. Yeah. And by the way, Busch, let's give a shout out to Busch, because they've done a great job in marketing for a while now. They've been doing great things, innovative stuff we haven't seen before, really cool, funny things that get attention, get social media attention. And they took advantage of this time, and they stayed on the gas, and God bless them for it. I hope they're just printing money right now. That's great. I hope they're keeping all their employees. I hope they're hiring more who are getting displaced. I wish them all the best.
And that's part of innovation in marketing and innovation in getting your product to people in different ways. And obviously it has paid off because they're seeing an increase in sales. And as people get worried about their own economies, as you pointed out a little bit earlier on the Brewmance on the Radio, Mike, is that our own economies are the most important to us. So if we're worried about our jobs, we're going to not buy expensive beer necessarily. We're going to buy beer that is more affordable. So it's obviously paying off for them. Speaking of beers that may or may not be affordable, but we hope are good, our beers of the week. It's time to review them. Mike Russell, you get to go first.
Oh, I'm first. I feel very snobbery. I feel very one percenter, but we have a very good friend that's connected with Mother Road, and we love Mother Road Brewing. So we did get some of this, and I actually did save one for Rob, and I saved one for our super fan, Super Pal Gina as well. So
nice.
Those two are ready to go. It is the Firing Order American IPA. Look, you want a crushable IPA? This is basically like Founders All Day, but the way Mother Road would make it. So it's better. It's got more flavor. It's a little bit beefier, but it hits you in the same way. Alcohol content, everything. But it has a little more ABV. A little more IBUs. And I wish they were putting this into their regular rotation, because I would be drinking it all the time, a lot like their daily driver, but a little bit of a different notes to it. It is easily 8.5 for me all day.
I love it. Mother Road, like you said, never disappoints, and I can't wait to get my hands on some of that. This one, Papago's Desert Sage Orange IPA. What can I say? It's good. So They have a little bit of orange zest in here, a hint of sage and agave. They say to represent the flavors and smells of the desert. It's 6.5%. It does not taste like 6.5%. I don't really know how to describe it other than the fact that I'm a fan. This is my second one of the show because it's good, and that's all that matters. I'm going to give it another sip. Give you tell you my impression of it real quick.
Well, I only had one because I promised the other two to other people, so I would have had
appreciate that.
I know.
Yeah, it's got a little agave sweetness to it, but a little bite to it. It's kind of like the desert. It's like the desert animals. Some of them are cute. Some won't bite you, but not in a bad way in this beer. I'm going to give it the same score that you gave your beer, Mike. I'm going to give this an 8.5. If you see this in the store, definitely go get yourself some. Unfortunately, we got to get out of here, but the conversation continues on the Brewmance podcast. Check it out on the iHeart Radio app. Just type it in. Also, it continues on Russell and Hunter. Not always with beer, but sometimes with beer. Thank you for being with us. Our website is brewmance.beer. We'd love to hear from you. Send us a note, will you?
All right. Till next time, everybody. Cheers, everybody.
Everybody.